Yes, I'm very excited for that.
We are
Demon's
so
Soul remake. Demon's Soul remake. God of War sequel. Price and release date. Don't know what Plus collection is.
Basically, just a handful of games. If you
Wake
have
up,
PS4.
everybody, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Social Discording. I'm your host, Banner SN, and here with me today, we've got Joey Spicy Fries.
Woo! Hello!
And special guest, half asleep Trevor.
Don't use my real name. Say it backwards. Robot.
Robert.
You'll never know.
It says it's not like it says it under your box where your profile picture is. So you got your name and like half your face.
In my face.
Oh darn!
And what looks to be some pretty well-defined pecs down there.
Yeah, it's got well-defined pecs.
Pre-COVID pecs.
Pre-COVID pecs. The fat times. Now it's the lean times.
This is Social Discording, a podcast all about three gents, sometimes four, sometimes three, sometimes two, today three, who are stuck at home because it's COVID times and we're never going to get out of here. Literally. We will never get out of here.
We're stuck forever.
And we've got a kind of a shorter episode for you today because Sleepy Boy has to go in a little bit. But we thought we would review the PlayStation 5 presentation that was yesterday. Go over some of the games, some of the stuff we liked. Joey and I will give our reviews of it. If you haven't checked out our reactions, go ahead and go to youtube.com/bannersend where we have a super cut if you don't have too much time and a long cut if you want to just watch the whole thing and just hang around with us. We do it in our alter ego personas in Animal Crossing. So you can see us in the cute little Animal Crossing forums react with actual emote reactions. This is pretty fun. Oh, there's Doggy there. Hello, Doggy. So yeah, let's get right into it. Joey, what were your thoughts about the PlayStation 5 presentation?
I loved it from start to finish. It was one of the greatest presentations I've seen in a while.
Did it beat the June Sony presentation? That's a good question.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely beat the June presentation. I'm trying to remember what of the June presentation I saw.
Spider-Man, Ratchet, Horizon, the console itself, Resident Evil. We saw Deathloop and Ghostwire for the first time. Kenna.
I mean, aside from Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, Kenna, we pretty much saw all those other games.
Yeah, well, they had them in the montage.
A little more in depth, but still excited and hyped for them to be released. So, and we got a price drop and a release date. So, of course, I'm very excited.
I've never been happier to see $500 on a console. 7 years ago, I would have been like, fuck that $500, but now I'm just like, thank God. Because the speculation...
$500.
The speculation was all over the place, because everyone was like, these things are going to be so expensive because they are... Because both the Series X and the PlayStation 5 are really good machines. Like, if you think about like 360 and PS3, they did some... Those were like powerful machines at the time. And they lasted for like 7 years, like 8 years of like their life cycle. So much so that by the time you got the new consoles, PCs were so far ahead of these things, it was crazy. And then you got the PS4 and the Xbox One, and they're fairly underpowered machines compared to what the PCs were doing at the time. But they went for a more affordability approach. So that's why the PS4 made profit at $400. And I think the Xbox One was $500 at launch. That's why they lost the whole generation, because they decided to force you to buy the Kinect with it for $100 more. Yeah, great decision.
Yeah.
But now we're here, and the talk of the town is that these things are way more powerful, like state-of-the-art machines. And, I mean, thank God for the NVIDIA event for basically putting these consoles in their place. Otherwise, they would have been more powerful than computers, basically. Not really, but...
Right. Well, I mean, if these are as powerful as people are leading on to believe, then I want that. I want every bang for every buck I'm spending on this console.
I see that nice reflective 4K TV behind those Reese's Pieces. You need something good for that.
No, let's draw the attention back to the Reese's Pieces. I'm much more interested in those.
These will be replaced by a white Wi-Fi router in a couple months. I guarantee that.
A white Wi-Fi router. All right, Mr. Trevor, you are not a gamer.
No.
Correct?
Confirmed not gamer.
Confirmed not gamer. And you've had no interest in these consoles so far. Nothing really appealed to you.
No.
Not until The Elder Scrolls 6, I'm guessing.
No, because I can just play that on my PC.
Can you? Will you?
Yeah, probably.
Who knows?
What? Skyrim can be played on like a Nokia fucking.
With how much Bethesda is being beaten over the head by people criticizing their engine and like the quality of Fallout 76 and some of the issues they've had with Fallout 4 and the fact that they're still using the same engine that was on Fallout 3 was the first game they used everything on. They might be making some pretty big power changes, and we have to get through Starbound before we even get to Elder Scrolls 6. So,
Oh, joy.
who knows how powerful those games will need to be. But that's not what we're really talking about today.
It feels like it was yesterday when we saw the presentation for Skyrim. It was
Which
what
one?
was it? It was E3.
You mean you mean Elder Scrolls 6? Gotcha. Skyrim.
Yeah,
2.
that's what I meant.
Skyrim
Sorry.
2 is like what I like to refer to. Yeah, no, that was 2018, right? That was a long time ago.
God. And we haven't heard anything further since.
No, they were very clear when they said like these are far away. We are throwing these logos up here just to let you know, hey, we are working on them. These are things that are happening. See you next.
These are properties we own. Goodbye.
I guess Halo is now in the mix of that.
No.
Yeah,
Halo will
sure.
be within Halo 2021. Put a money.
New announcement date coming out Infinity. Goodbye.
2117. So let's look at these games here that we got. We had let's start with the games we knew about. Miles Morales, launch title, coming out also on the PS4, which we didn't know about. There's some controversy going on right now with the it's this weird contrast between like PlayStation 5 fans who are like so excited that these games weren't on older systems that they're like celebrating that. They're like, oh yeah, Miles Morales, Sackboy's Big Adventure, Horizon Forbidden West, PlayStation 5 exclusives, but they're not. They're actually coming out on PS4.
Which is interesting.
Granted, Sony completely lied about that. They said that they had no plans to put these things on PS4, and now they're like, yeah, PS4, why not? Which is just...
Turns out we like money.
Yeah,
I mean-
right?
I'm sure some people want to. I mean, everyone who had a PS4, a huge justification was playing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it drove a lot of late console sales, right? Like, I'm sure those people will be very happy
Right.
to be playing
yeah.
as Miles, the Electro Spider. What's his thing? Does he fly?
He's got
He turns
electricity.
invisible and he's got electric shocks.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The interesting part is that Microsoft now has the most next-gen exclusive titles, whereas Sony now has fewer PlayStation 5 exclusive games because of this. Which, who really even cares? You're comparing Miles Morales to the Medium, so it's not really an argument. But the interesting thing is that Microsoft started this whole conversation being like, we believe in a platform vision of the Xbox. So whether or not you're a loyal fan of the Xbox One, or you're jumping on the Series X, or your PC Game Pass, or xCloud gamer, like it's all Xbox to us. So that means that our first party titles for at least 2 years or so are going to be Xbox One and Xbox Series X, blah, 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 blah. I don't know any first party titles that are going on both now. So I don't know what that message was about, because the only thing is Halo is going on both. And like all the games they announced at their presentation, like Fable, Forza, Hellblade, all those games did not have Xbox One logos on them. They were all Xbox Series X. Now, whether or not they add it later remains to be seen. I don't know. Maybe they'll just add it later like Sony did. Sony, on the other hand, said no PS4 games. These are PS5 exclusives. And now they're all on PS4. They're completely swapped. And everyone's upset. Except for me. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean...
It doesn't, I mean, does it cost the PS5 users anything if it's backwards compatible? I guess it's not backwards compatible. Is the wrong word to say.
So the way with these consoles work, like if this was PCs, no, because the sliders, you just slide the quality up and down. But the way these new consoles work is that because they are so integrated with the SSD, games for these consoles, if you're building a game ground up for these consoles, you are developing this game with this mindset of you will not need to worry about load times, not really. And you can run information through these things, whether it's like foliage, whether it's NPCs, like daily routes, like combat sequences, like cutscenes, dialogue, every little aspect of the thing can just move throughout your system so much faster. And in order to create something like Spider-Man Miles Morales for both platforms, you can't really think about that SSD as much in your game design because you have to also think about the PS4 version. And it's it's not as clear cut as, say, PS4 Pro versus PlayStation 4, where you can, like, they made Last of Us Part 2 with the mindset that they want the PS4 Pro version to take advantage of all that extra hardware, but it still run totally fine on regular PS4. This is like, if you were to make a PS5 game, you would have to put in a lot of extra work to get it down to a PS4 game. Now we're finding out that these were PS4 games that were upgraded to a PS5 version. So it's kind of a different story of like where they originally said, "Oh, we believe in the next gen. We are making these ground up build for PlayStation 5." Now, it's not really true, is it? Because they were originally planning on building them for PS4.
So it's a limiting factor, basically. A ball and chain on the new generation to be still looking back at the old, huh?
Just a little bit. We assume, presumably, they didn't mention Ratchet and Clank, so I assume that's a full PS5 game, and that one is pretty much the biggest showpiece. Ratchet and Clank is the biggest showpiece title for next gen we have right now, with the way it's kind of running. What?
That's true.
Yeah, because the big thing with Ratchet and Clank is that you're jumping through dimensions, and they're showing this seamless loading systems that they're doing, where he's sliding down a building in the middle of a big city, jumps through a portal, and all of a sudden he's riding like some raptor beast in a completely different planet that loads just instantly. And that's like the sort of goal. And that's not something you can do on PS4 unless you're Ghost of Tsushima for some reason. So I assume that's not PS4, and I assume God of War 2 is not PS4, but who knows at this point?
Right. Who knows?
The one thing that I will say about it is that PS4 had some of the best games of all time. The Sony exclusives are so, like, generational defining for this last decade. So if they're on PS4, I don't give a shit. They're still going to be fantastic. It's like Spider-Man Miles Morales. Who gives a shit if it's on PS4? It's going to be so good. And look at the game. It looks beautiful. The crystal clear. The puddles, Joey. The puddles.
the puddles. That was the highlight. Was the puddles.
Trap music. Trevor, it's got trap music.
Oh, man, you sold me.
Trap music.
And does it have chill step, too? Does it have lo-fi?
Lo-fi, I don't know. What's lo-fi? Is that Sunflower? So after Miles Morales, we got to look at Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which was
That's on everything, is it not?
Yeah. But like some of the more.
Oh wait, it says there's an alpha on here. What?
Yeah, so PS4
They're
users,
offering it.
PS4 Plus I think it's Plus users get a free alpha this weekend. You can play the multiplayer.
This weekend.
Yeah, just for PS4.
What the fuck? Quick. Go buy a PS4.
Great time for it. Honestly, you could probably get it for pretty cheap. The campaign looked pretty fast and furious, which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it. I'm sure they had some, great 2010s rap song over it.
No, they didn't have the Eminem song. I complained about that.
Did they have War Children?
They didn't have any music.
Oh. Was it just Reagan talking with a mouthful of jelly beans?
Jesus Christ.
Reagan smash. Then we saw another look at Resident Evil. We got a bit more story context. We got another trailer for Deathloop. A bit more of the gameplay loop from that one. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey. A new Five Nights at Freddy's game, which looks like an actual game, which is interesting.
I'm sorry, what? Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Security Breach, which looks like you're actually playing.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Oh, it looked terrifying.
You know those games are like, how they're always just in one room. You're statically locked into one room. Except for, I think
it looks like you're going throughout the whole building in this one.
No, wait a minute. I've seen that before. I think some of the newer Freddy's you could.
Yeah, but not like to like what feels like a higher budget extent, like what's that game called? Outlast. Outlast? Yeah. Or what's the other one? What's the famous horror game? Pigs.
Pigs.
Yeah.
I think you are thinking of Outlast.
No, it's like the
It's
OG
got a pig head one, right?
Amnesia. Is that it?
Are there pigs in that? Although I remember the splashy footsteps.
Yeah,
Amnesia.
like something where you're actually moving around in an environment, more like a Resident Evil kind of thing. That's actually kind of.
There's a jump scare in the trailer.
Nice.
For Five Nights at Freddy's.
Then we got Demon Souls gameplay, which they didn't announce any sort of launch date for this, but it's available at launch, which is fun. In what reality do you not say launch title at the end of the trailer like that?
Mm-hmm.
That seemed very weird. But that game is going to be $70.
Yeah,
$70.
It's happening.
It's here. $70 games. Alongside of that, Spider-Man is going to be $50. $70 for the deluxe edition, which comes with a fully next-gen version enhancement of Spider-Man 1. Sackboy, $50, and Destruction All-Stars will be $70, which I don't know if that game should really be $70, but we'll find out how good that game is.
in my opinion, I don't think so.
Demon Souls looked awesome. That looked so cool, and there was some really sick loading times in that as well. That one was a good next gen piece as well.
I was never a Souls player.
I feel like I
honestly, I'm not a lot of these announcement players. I don't. Hang on, is there anything? I've never played Resident Evil before.
You have?
That's a lie. I played with you.
I'm like, what are you talking? There's videos on our channel.
Yeah,
Fortnite coming to launch.
Fortnite? What did you just call me?
Anyway, God of War 2 coming again, and
Wait. Did you mention Final Fantasy 16?
No, I'm only talking about the. I said God of War, but I was only talking about the stuff we already knew about. For the new stuff, Final Fantasy 16 first revealed here. This was an exclusive to PlayStation game. I think it's coming to PC later as well. That's awesome. Looks. I'm like, the more I watched that trailer, the more excited I was. I think I was so distracted by the fact that I didn't know what it was. I was like, is this 14? This looks like 14. And there's a reason for that, because it's the same director and a very similar kind of art design. And it doesn't look super next gen, which is, you know, you get what you get, but like, I think that's probably good for the Final Fantasy like franchise, because they need to kind of like be more realistic with what they're making.
What? Isn't this the game where a bunch of like teenagers kill God or something?
Usually, that's what usually happens.
What do you mean? What do you mean realistic?
I've killed my fair share of gods in Final Fantasy.
I know there's like thousands of Final Fantasy games, and I know they all have the same titles. So, when was 15?
That was a few years ago.
But that wasn't the most recent Final Fantasy game.
Like main Final Fantasy game?
Remake just came out.
So that's like the remake of 7.
Yeah. Well,
that's not
part
the
of the
first remake of 7.
It is the first. It's part 1 of the remake of 7.
It's not even done yet.
So they took the first chunk of the game, this first sequence that used to be like 7-8 hours maybe, and they expanded it out into a full-fledged game that's like 35-40 hours.
Jesus.
I loved it. Fantastic game. So worth it. Like,
what happens if they don't finish the whole game in time for the new console?
They won't. They haven't even announced part 2 yet. We don't even know. It's not even going to be called part 2, probably. It'll probably be called Final Fantasy VII.
3, just to fuck with people.
Final Fantasy VII Rechain of Memories or something. I don't know. Fucking Nomura. And the director of the game is the guy who makes Kingdom Hearts. So you know I love this shit. I'm all about it.
Of course.
We had the Harry Potter RPG from Warner Brothers.
Looked beautiful.
Looked great. Looked awesome. I'm like, this game looks so cool. I don't know if I can play it or not, because I don't want to support JK right now.
Oh?
You know the JK Rowling controversy?
She's like, one of her characters is bi now or something?
No.
Or she changes their background.
She's a massive throbbing transphobe. I don't want to get into it today.
Is?
But like,
what?
Look anywhere, you'll find it. It's a really big thing right now. She has a book in which the main villain is a guy who dresses up as women and kills women in bathrooms after she's had this whole transphobe controversy. It's like, what are you doing? She's an awful human being. Awful human being.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I'm not joking. Awful human being. This is not.
Are
This
you
is
punked right now? I thought JK was like an advocate for like inundated groups.
Quote unquote, quote unquote, quote unquote. No, she's lost it. She's lost it all.
What? No, I don't believe you. What in the world?
I can't get into this right now because it's a whole thing, and I'd love to do more research.
Oh no! It auto completed to transphobe. What? I didn't even say T. I didn't even hit space after Rowling.
It's honestly really disgusting. It started off kind of like is she not? Like, what is she doing? And then she just kept doubling down worse and worse and worse, and now she has this book coming out, and it's just like. Anyway, so God of War 2 coming out 2021, confirmed to be God of War 2. The producer of the game hashtagged it God of War 2. Come on. Are you kidding me?
Wasn't there already a God of War 2?
Wasn't there already a God of War? But this is the good God of War. Why are you confused about that?
The historiographers, when everything goes up in flames and COVID takes us all down, the few people, like chronological people, like cataloging everything, are gonna be so confused. They're like, okay,
no,
this
they're
is
not.
the third.
How many
God
different versions
5.
of the Bible do we have, and that we keep track of?
One, and it's God. It's the one way.
Well, maybe by God of War 3, he'll be like, I'm looking for a man, Jesus of Nazareth.
I'm finding Jesus. Oh no, he teams up with Jesus. Like he sees Jesus in the desert, and like he does a Terminator like hand grab, like son of a bitch. It's good to see you again, Christ. He's like, you too, Kratos.
I would be so hyped for that game, but so it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be called God of War Ragnarok. Second game in the new reboot, which I'm very excited for that.
Damn. What if they've got Chris Tatum, fucking Chris Hemsworth starring as Thor?
I don't know if they have a Thor actor yet, or if they've announced a Thor actor yet. But I hope you get to pick up the
hammer. I saw Thor in the first game. Doesn't he talk like crazy?
I don't know if he speaks in the game.
Oh, and he just shoot lightning.
He shows up at the end of the game.
Gotcha.
The price. Oh no, sorry. The PlayStation Plus collection, which was I think like 16 or so PlayStation 4 games that are going to be free to download, free quote unquote, if you're PlayStation Plus and you have the PS5. So that's, I mean, that's pretty awesome. It's just a cool little bonus. I mean, it's not Game Pass, but it is some really top tier PS4 games. You have God of War, Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4, Ratchet and Clank, the Ratchet and Clank remake, by the way, not the original. Resident Evil 7, Mortal Kombat 10, Battlefield 1, Days Gone. You have Bloodborne. You have
Bloodborne I'm excited for. I've always wanted to play.
100%. Persona 5, just tons of cool shit. Then they gave us the price, $500, $400. Perfect. Can't ask for anything better. I mean, you could, but realistically, that was exactly what it should have been. So I've successfully convinced 3 people in this group to get PS5s. I've converted the wee lad, Mr.
You did it. I was already on board.
We don't need to get into the details here. Just let me make my.
All right. Have your
anyway,
way here.
So, as far as next gen consoles go, Mr. Trevor, we now have all the details we need for the Xbox and the PS5. There are 4 of us here that are getting the PS5. Apparently, I currently have. I have pre-ordered 4 of them, 4 PS5s.
I mean, it's true, folks. He did.
The pre-orders was such a shit show, and I don't know if it was Sony's fault or I don't know if it was Walmart's fault. Someone was at fault for this because they didn't announce the pre-order date. Afterwards, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's going up tomorrow. We'll give you plenty of notice." And then Walmart was like, "Pre-orders are up now." And then every other company was like, "Fuck, get your pre-orders in!" And they just went out instantly. Luckily for this guy,
so the head hunt began.
I fucked up with Walmart, and then I was like, "Get your credit card information everywhere, get your logins everywhere. I'm getting this shit." and I got a Target one. I got these two boys a Target one, and then I got a GameStop one, and then I got 2 Amazon ones. And I was very happy with that. I'm not upselling these, by the way. I'm just saying that I'm not gonna like scalp these. 2 of them are, one's going to your brother, one's going to Dylan,
Selling.
and the 4th one I will either cancel or see if someone else that I know needs it or something like that.
Do a giveaway. Do a Bander SN giveaway.
I'm not giving away a PlayStation 5. I'll give away the pre-order for it so you can pay for it, but I'm not giving it away. Jesus Christ.
All right, vigilantes out there, you know who to attack when you can't get your PS5. It's Joe.
But on the other side of that, Xbox has a very, very honestly, if I was looking at Trevor, I was about to shout out your last name. If I was looking at you and like actually making a real Banner Ascend recommendation for you, I would honestly say like the Xbox. If you're ever interested in getting next gen console, I would say the Xbox Series S is probably the one for you. $300 up front, or you could do the payment plan of $25 a month, which comes with Ultimate, which if you factor that in, it's about $10 a month. 10 times 20, it's only $240 then. That's crazy price for next gen entry. And unless you're thinking of getting a 4K TV, you don't need, like, it does 1080p 60 frames per second. That's sort of the advertised kind of goal of it. It can do 1440. It can't do 4K though, which unless you have 4K TV, who cares if you can do 4K? And you get your Game Pass. You get 2 years of Game Pass with that. So that's all those games you need. All of the Xbox first party titles, a ton of good third party stuff. All of EA Play, which comes with now, tons of value. So like if I were actually recommending, I'd be like, Trevor, you should, if you ever wanted to like dip your toes into next gen, the Xbox Series S would be the one for you. The only thing about that is I don't necessarily know if you would need that considering you have your PC now. With your PC, which I think is about the equivalent to mine, you should be good for
35 minutes.
I would just say like a few more years of like good quality like PC games, and you'll get all those Xbox games as well for Game Pass. So my recommendation for you is just to stay put, unless you want to play these awesome PlayStation games. It's either like
the only one on here that I would want to play is the Harry Potter one.
Ooh.
And that will be available
play that on anything.
Platform. Yep, 100%. Which is great. I'm not upset that that's not a PlayStation exclusive, because if you're like, unless you're literally the company making the game and the console, like Spider-Man, like those games should be for everyone, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Avengers, Batman, all those games should be for everyone. That should be exclusive, unless you're Insomniac and making Spider-Man, in which case that's a different story.
Right.
And it should not be exclusive to the Avengers game on PlayStation. So I think we failed. I don't think we've convinced Trevor at all.
I don't think so.
Yeah, sorry. I gotta go with Hogwarts.
Well, the only other piece of convincing that I could throw out there is the evergreen Grand Theft Auto 6, wherever that game is. I assume there's
Evergreen.
kind of Grand Theft Auto. I would say that's an evergreen title.
Well, you said 6. The 6 isn't out, is it?
No. It's in development. Not officially announced, but it's definitely in development. And supposedly the target is 2023, because according to financial plans for Take-Two, they have a bigger marketing budget like on the record for 2023, which a marketing budget equivalent to the size of Red Dead 2. So and I would say I have a stinking suspicion that PlayStation is going to get a little sleazy and try to scoop that up for a 6-month or 1 year exclusive on PlayStation.
Jesus.
I mean, it sounds like you guys love Spider-Man, so it's like it'll get people like you. They'll reel them in.
I'm already in. Like, I mean, those exclusive deals don't. I mean, well, Spider-Man's not exclusive. It's made by PlayStation.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts as exclusive. I mean, I guess I guess Xbox is still putting Minecraft on all platforms. So I guess that's, there's a comparison of like, they could have easily kept Minecraft on Xbox and took it away from PlayStation and not even put it on the Switch.
Right. Yeah.
But there's also something to be said about like a top tier game and having it built for one single platform, so that you're not worrying about all these other different systems you have to deal with, and that generally is the reason why exclusives tend to be of higher quality, generally on average, I think.
On average.
But yeah, we have. That was a great conference. It was very good.
Definitely.
Compared to the stinker that was the Xbox showcase, am I right, Joey? Fuck the Xbox.
Jog my memory. What were some highlights from that?
I don't have the notes with me, but they had the Halo release, which obviously disappointed a lot of people. That's why they delayed the damn thing.
Oh yeah, the shaved monkey man, the brute.
I don't have it here, but in my other my other dimension, I have a picture of him right here.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is in your Animal Crossing.
They had Fable, they had Forza, they had State of Decay 3, Avowed, which I'm pretty excited about. That's the new Obsidian Elder Scrolls like RPG that they're doing.
Yeah.
What else was on there? There's like one more core title that I'm missing here. I mean, they had a little bit of Hellblade, but not really. Oh, Everworld. The only issue with the big problem with the Xbox One is that a lot of these titles were just CG or in-engine cinematic trailers with no real gameplay shown and no clear release dates and no logos showing Xbox One, which they said games for Xbox Studio games will be on both platforms for the first 2 years. So if the logos are only showing one platform, are they 2 years away? Is that what they're indicating? And whereas PlayStation over here is like, next year, you've got Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, God of War, you got Miles Morales here, you got Demon Souls, you got a Little Big Planet game. It's like, slow down, guys. I only have so much money to throw around.
They're coming out swinging for sure.
Absolutely. And that's kind of why that conference was a little disappointing for me, because it was just like, like Fable's awesome. Glad to see Fable back, but if it's not if it's 2023 that Fable's coming back, that's like, I can't.
Wow.
I mean, cool. I mean, they did the same. It was the same trailer for God of War, but they're like, 2021, baby, and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm all in. Give me. Give me that PlayStation.
Exclusive. Rubbing him on his nipples, the discs. You're like, exclusives.
Bad for consumers. Bad for consumers. Exclusives.
No, yeah, sorry, I'm not buying. Nice try, Mr. Stoney.
I mean, the Bander SN recommendation. The Bander SN recommendation is a guaranteed success. I've never, ever failed with one of my recommendations, right, Joey?
I'm sorry, what now?
And my recommendation for you is probably just stick with your PC, because I don't see a core PlayStation title really bringing you in. I mean, I'm sure if you played them, you'd be like, this is pretty dope, but I don't think you're the type to spend even $400 on that, right? Well, $470 at this point, because you have to buy the game too.
Right. Yeah, mission failed, Joe.
We'll get him next time.
Well, with the onset of crossplay coming in, who cares? Play pretty much anything that we want that's multiplayer together. We're playing Fall Guys and Among Us. Who gives a shit about next gen?
It's true.
That's all we're
Playing
doing.
fucking Flash games.
Yeah. That's it. That's all we got for you. We wanted to do a bit of a deeper dive into some other stuff, but we don't really have too much time for that. In fact, we got to go right now. This has been Social Discording, the podcast all about people stuck at home, just like you. That's right. We're relatable. Me and my 4 PS5 pre-orders.
God.
The Emery Man.
Banner sent in the blue, Spicy Fries in the red, Trevor in the yellow. Thank you all for watching. Check out our reaction videos, Banner-san. Subscribe, like this video. We have reactions to the Nintendo Direct that was this morning. I don't know if this video is going out this morning. It's probably going out tomorrow morning. So that came out yesterday. Check those out. We actually were very impressed with that show, and I'm gonna go download Hades right now. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.
Later.